Climate neutrality by 2050 means for the transport sector reduction of 90%. To reach this overall objective, a very holistic approach is required. And that will mean revisiting the CO2 standards for cars and vans. This will mean accompanying this transition to zero emission mobility with rollout of infrastructure, and the Alternative Fuel Infrastructure Directive will also be up for review in the next couple of months. And it also means looking at the fuels and how to further decarbonize fuel with the revision of the fuel-related legislation.
We should imagine what success looks like not only for Europe, but also the contribution Europe makes to helping the world get to decarbonisation, because actually we need the whole world to have strong climate action to succeed in balancing the climate. It's clear to us that Europe will play a leading role, but that simply also means that other countries will be behind. We know that there will be internal combustion engines in other parts of the world for decades to come. Europe has got to lead there in making very clean, very efficient hybridized vehicles. It would be very useful for Europe to continue to improve those worldwide. There are also technologies around use of biomass. While Europe is not that wealthy in biomass, other regions of the world have huge quantities of biomass, and technologies to convert those into useful fuels and products are really important technologies for the future. Europe can get a lot done with its strong policies. We welcome the Green Deal, we welcome the increased ambition for 2030, but we do think there's some great opportunities to get a range of technologies developed.
You say that automakers have embraced electric models. Yes, of course we are, and all manufacturers are starting to roll out a range of battery electric vehicles, plug-in hybrid vehicles, non-chargeable hybrid technologies. But what we really need is also now for the customers to embrace those sorts of technologies at greater levels than they are at the moment. And there really has got to be a bigger effort in increasing the infrastructure, not just on electric recharging, but all of the different types of new approaches on powertrain and fuels which have been talked about. For example, hydrogen or natural gas, liquefied natural gas still plays a role. Now, when it comes to biofuels, we're highly interested in that because the internal combustion engine is not going to go away.
Both conventional and advanced biofuels are extremely essential for contribution to the Green Deal goals. They both are sustainable. They differ from the feedstock from which they are produced, like conventional biofuels are produced from so-called food and feed crops, and advanced biofuels are produced from waste and residues. Conventional biofuels represent currently approximately 60% of all renewable energy sources in the transport sector, and together with advanced biofuels, the share of biofuels in transport or in renewable energy sources in transport is 89%. So it shows the extremely importance of them, as they are the solution which is widely available now as almost one solution which we have already on the table.
And what's highly interesting about moving to low carbon fuels is the potential for those fuels to be drop-ins such that the whole fleet can use those fuels. So we're not talking about trying to make CO2 reductions just dependent on the introduction of new vehicles into the fleet, which takes time and in recent years has been overcome by the increase in transport use. But by also concentrating in a more holistic manner on options which the existing fleet can also use, then there is a capability there for making a bigger dent in total road transport emissions by providing solutions to everybody, old vehicles and new vehicles.
I think what I take from that discussion is, first, a mix of technologies, second, a mix of policy instruments, and the challenge is to make sure that we do that in a very consistent way and in a cost-effective way. So it will be indeed a lot of work ahead of us. There will be lots of instruments which will be open for review, several impact assessments being prepared. but we really count on the input from stakeholders to make sure that at the end, in June 2021, we have a very consistent policy mix to propose.